Hello to the chicos, hello to the chicas, welcome back. Today we are going to do a endgame analysis slash calculation exercise, and I would like to quote an absolute legend. When I talk about calculation exercises, I mention usually two things, and none of these are usually taken seriously enough. So I'm going to repeat them. First, I tend to say that every position and any position in chess can be a calculation exercise. Number two, if you would like to master calculating at one point, preferably earlier than later in your chess journey or chess improvement journey, you should engage with a lot of king and pawn endgames because they allow you to calculate reasonably straightforward lines. They are usually not very heavy in terms of volume, but allow you to go deep. They allow you to be creative and so on. So, on that note, I'm going to present to you now a position that I saw on Twitter by a really awesome dude who goes by the name of Maurits. I hope he doesn't mind that I'm sharing this. It comes from a game of his which he regrettably lost. And in this position, he had a big decision to make. And that big decision, ladies and gentlemen, was whether to take this pawn and embrace the pawn ending or, excuse me, not. And since I do not want to spoil the party necessarily for anyone, I'm going to leave this as an exercise for the reader, at least for now. Before you unpause, and I'll tell you the answer. So if you would like to work it out or try your hand at calculation, I would like to encourage you to try to figure out if rook takes f3 is playable or it's gonna be a winning scenario for black. So pause now, because now I'm going to reveal the goods. As a matter of fact, Maurits himself, if I'm not mistaken, revealed it on Twitter that he did take on f3 and it was a losing move. And when I looked at that tweet, I must admit that I went like, is it really? And it took me a fair time, couple of minutes, to figure out the winning idea for black in this king and pawn ending. For the record, very quickly, I would like to throw in that rook g5 is a super easy draw. Black doesn't really have a winning plan here. The king has been cut off, can't go back due to h5. White has his threat to penetrate here. The black rook is tied to the guarding of the f pawn. So yeah, easy peasy draw. But let's have a big chat about this king and pawn ending, and I'll tell you roughly how I came to the conclusion that I arrived to, which turned out to be correct. So at first I calculated king h5, king g3. There are no tempo moves to play for black in terms of pawns, so no point to look. Going backwards makes no sense, so g5 takes. Now at that point, it's worth noting that we have got the opposition, so white is in a bit of an awkward spot, but that shouldn't really amount to anything. I continued then calculating king f3, king f5, and at this point, because I really wanted to be precise by white, I went back to f2 in order to meet king e4 with king e2, so that again, black doesn't seem to have much else than d4, which I then take, king takes, and king d2, and I have the opposition. And at my first attempt, I stopped here and went all the way back to the beginning, and I started looking for alternatives, and I couldn't find anything better for black whatsoever than playing exactly what we just did. King h5, g5, walk it to e4, play d4, and at that point, the penny dropped, because, to quote another legend, never stop your calculation too soon. I realized that there was a hidden resource in that position after king d4, king d2, and in order to still make it a challenge for those of you who are watching but didn't solve it, I will call it out, but without doing arrows and without playing the moves. So let's see if you can follow me. So the idea is king h5, king g3, g5, hg, king g, king f3, king f5, king f2, king e4, king e2, d4, ed4, king d4, king d2, and this is where the trick comes. King c4, king c2, and just when white feels like they survived the worst, here comes a5, that cheeky little pawn push on the side decides the game. An absolutely beautiful example of many things really that makes this a perfect calculating exercise. It's quite deep. in terms of length. The punchline is actually the last move that makes it really, really cool, because it's easy to give up halfway through or anywhere really along the journey, assuming that it's a draw. And so all of this just somehow makes it, in my mind, an absolutely perfect calculating exercise, which I shall now play out on the board so that you can see what it looks like. Only move g5 takes, king f3, king f2, doesn't make a difference wherever I go. I opted to go king f3, king f5, king f2, king e4, king e2, d4. All of this is completely forcing. Take, here, and pawn a5. That dagger thrust right through the chest is an absolutely cruel move. Like, who would think from the starting position that we are going to lose this king and pawn ending because black has this spare move here? That is just like, oh man, that is brutal. Like, if that pawn was here in the starting position, it would be a draw, I think. Anyway, yeah, so one more time. Rook f3, take, all the way, bang, 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 and a5. And I will just show you very briefly the points. If I take, then after king c5, these pawns are useless. I already have a passer. I'm going to win this super easy victory. And if I don't take, well, then I'm going to lose all my pawns. And then I am going to lose that endgame. Now, very quickly, I just want to do a test. I was right. It's a draw. So if the starting position kicks off with the pawn on a4 and not on a6, it is actually a draw. And that is really cool. Because now the exact same variation is not going to work out for black, because there is no pawn move to be made. And so they can't kick my king out from opposition. And in this case, by the way, it is quite important that we go to f2 here. As a matter of fact, the only move that draws, because you must be ready to meet the king on e4 with king e2, and then meet the king on d4 with king d2. And so if we went king e2, then after king e4, king d2, d4 takes, we would land in the exact same position, except white to move and white loses. King here loses the pawn, and king here also loses the pawns, all of them. And ladies and gents, that is how it is done. Every position is a calculation exercise, or can be, and you should do king and pawn endings if you would like to improve your calculating skills, improving precision, evaluation, looking for the best moves for both sides. All these vitally important skills will come to the fore very, very quickly and in an emphasized fashion in king and pawn endings. So if you want to improve your calc, do your pawn endings. Ladies and gents, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to sub, to like, to super thank me if you can, and also to comment down below. I will be back with the next video soon. Thanks for watching.